First thing is the great COO has to be the yin and yang for the CEO. So if an entrepreneur is strong in these 4 areas and weak in these 6, the COO needs to be strong in these 6 and not really care about those 4. Right? They need to really be great at the stuff the CEO is not great in. So you could have a very outward-facing COO or very inward-facing. You could have a sales and marketing-focused one, engineering-focused, process-focused. You'd have to find one that's the perfect complement for the CEO. That's number 1. Number 2 is the trust has to be completely implicit. It's like a marriage. They literally have to get along so well that they become completely inseparable. And third is lack of ego. The COO needs to obsess about helping the CEO become iconic. It's one of the reasons why I'm reading this book right now by Ryan Holiday, Ego is the Enemy, is the COOs always need to learn how to become amazing at what they do, but drop the ego because it's about the CEO. It's not about them. And when you have that really strong yin-yang team, it's incredible.
So great synergy with the CEO is I think one of the points you've mentioned here.
Yeah.
It's kind of difficult though when you think about a startup to have someone who is ultimately your best friend and who can also work with the same velocity as you. Is there a way you've found to be more successful at finding that person?
Well, in the early days, in early stages of a company, most people don't need a COO. They need an executive assistant, right? If you don't have an assistant, you are one. So I would recommend that everybody at some point, one of your very first hires is an executive assistant who can get a lot of the stuff off your plate to allow you to leverage up. And then at some point when your revenue stream allows, you might hire a general manager or an operations person. But don't over-title. Don't give someone a COO title until your business is big enough to truly give someone the COO title.
No, I completely agree with you. So let's talk a little bit about the actual COO role and not just how to find the right CEO, but if a CEO was operating at his maximum capacity or he was the right person to have in your company, what would be the main essential responsibilities that a CEO needs to kind of absolutely undertake, no matter what company you're in?
Yeah, it's different for every organization because the COO is the complement to the CEO. So the main responsibilities is whatever the CEO is not doing. I'll give you an example. Some COOs have finance reporting to them. Some don't. Some have sales and marketing reporting to them. Some don't. So when I was building 1-800-GOT-JUNK and I was the chief operating officer, I had everything report to me except IT and finance. Now I have a COO that I mentor today, and he has finance reporting to him because the CEO hates finance. Okay, so the main organizational responsibilities are all the things that the CEO doesn't love to do or isn't great at. That's number 1.
So it's a supplementary role ultimately, and not one of authority in the sense that
Correct.
you're kind of choosing how to identify or what you want to be doing.
You could have a CEO or an entrepreneur who's very outward facing and does a lot with PR and does a lot with marketing and sales. You could have another one where the CEO, like a Howard Schultz, is very outward facing. So the COO is more inward facing with numbers and policies and systems.
Do you often run into issues where the COO is envious of the CEO? You know, in the sense that, you know, they're the ones maybe, especially if they're in outward facing activities and the COO is the guy running everything on the back end and is like, I'm not getting like out there. Nobody knows who I am.
Yeah, it really depends on the person. So if the person is very high in affiliation, meaning they want to be part of a group, they want to be seen and noticed, then sometimes ego can come in. So I was a very outward-facing COO, and the reason I was never jealous of Brian as being the CEO was I had the speaking platform. I was talking to the media all the time. I was able to build my brand and my career based on the brand 1-800-GOT-JUNK. So I was never envious of him. In fact, more people probably know of me related to 1-800-GOT-JUNK than know of Brian in a lot of ways. Right? We were a very great complement with each other, so there was no jealousy there.
And what are some of the things people are not talking about but should be talking about the COO role? I mean, you're engulfed into it to the level where you get to interact with tons of them and at different levels for different organizations in different ways. Is there anything about the role that people are not talking about that they really should be?
Yeah, so the COO really is the one who truly understands the idiosyncrasies, the fears, the insecurities, the weaknesses of the CEO, because they're the true complement. So they really have to hold a lot of those things internally. They're in a very private space where the CTO and the CFO and the CMO don't necessarily know all of those weaknesses of the CEO, but because you're really that person's partner, you're holding a lot more of their vulnerabilities, and it's a really critical responsibility to have. You know, you can't really have any other best friends on the leadership team except the CEO.
Right, right. No, I completely agree with you. So I guess the final segment I want to talk about a little bit is about leadership today. How do you feel like leadership has shifted in the past few years when you look at new companies versus old companies?
Great question. You're asking some really great questions. So in the old days, leadership was very top-down, command and control, CEO at the top, VPs, managers, staff. Now leadership is flipped. The CEO is at the bottom, supporting the VPs, who are supporting the managers, who are supporting the customers. So leadership is much more about vision as to where we're going, build within our core values and our core purpose, and then let me support you in your role. Let me coach you, let me mentor you, let me find you resources to grow, let me remove obstacles, but much less command and control and much more very supportive. And that's why when you hire the right people and you show them where they're going to go there. So those old days of that command and control is gone. The second thing that leadership is really doing now, I think a lot more than ever before, is communicating vision. Really kind of, spending time walking 3 years out and looking to see where we're going and then coming back and talking to the team. So much more about strategy, really much more about understanding the market and market changes. CEOs need to be with their board of advisors, very, very focused on what's happening with technology and changing in their market so they can communicate those threats and opportunities back to the team. And much less about being the smartest person in the room. Up until really when Google came out in 1999, you had to be the smartest person in the room because you didn't have time to open every book to find the information. Information wasn't as easily accessible as it is today. Now the CEO doesn't have to be the smartest person in the room. They just have to know where the smartest people are. So it's now about networking more. It's about leveraging resources more. It's about knowing where we're going more, and much less about being the smartest guy who's been there and done it.